This is the spinous process. You know this is the
Yes.
posterior or dorsal side. So this is the dorsal side of the spinal cord. All right. These areas are the white matter of the spinal cord. This is called the dorsal white column, the ventral white column, and the lateral white column. Okay? Then we have the gray matter of the spinal cord, which is where the cell bodies are. It kind of makes three horns stick out. We have the dorsal horn or the posterior horn, which is where sensory neurons will be sending their axons in to synapse with neurons here. And then in this lateral horn and the ventral or anterior horn are where the cell bodies of motor neurons are. These go out to skeletal muscles, and this was mentioned that, so this is voluntary control. This is where the motor neurons are going to go out to the autonomic nervous system or to glands, and that's more involuntary. You also have this little gray thing that's going across here, so it's going across between one side of the CNS to the other, so that's a commissure. We call that the gray commissure here in the spinal cord. In the middle of it, there's a little hole, a little tube, that's the central canal. All right. This thing is called the anterior sulcus. Nope. Anterior fissure, so it's actually a big opening. Up here there's a little sulcus. So again, you know, a sulcus is where it dives down in. It's a thinner opening between them, probably easier to see in the other model. All right. Coming in or out. This is the dorsal root ganglion. This is where the cell bodies of sensory neurons are that are sending their information into the spinal cord. So the cell bodies are here. This is called the dorsal root, where those axons from those cell bodies are coming in. As they're getting into the spinal cord, they break into lots of little things, so they're called rootlets at that point. So these are the dorsal rootlets, which are sending sensory information into synapse with neurons in here. Okay? On the other side, you've got the ventral rootlets, which are the axons from the motor neurons here and here that are coming out, heading out. When they come together, they're called the ventral root, and they're going to head out to get to the muscles and glands. All right, a couple other things you need to know. If I turn it up, this is part of the meninges. This is the pia mater. Right? This is the subarachnoid space in here where blood vessels are, and it has sort of web-like extensions from this arachnoid matter here. So this here is the arachnoid mater, subarachnoid space, pia mater. Out here is the dura mater. You can see there's a little space between the dura and the arachnoid, so that would be the subdural space. This is called the subarachnoid space, and it's filled with, blood vessels run in here, but also it's filled with cerebral spinal fluid. And then just to kind of mention, this area out here that's filled with fat and blood vessels is the epidural space, which is a place where we do like injections for...
Would that be adipose tissue?
It is adipose tissue, yes. And blood vessels, and we do injections in you guys to help you.
Labor?
Doesn't work.
Yep.
Usually doesn't work.
Works in some people.
That's where you
Okay.
put that injection.
I think that's the, yeah, they do it in one of the epidural spaces, right?
And there's a fissure. There's in the book it has two fissures.
A fissure and a sulcus, right? So this is the fissure. So if I'm doing this, if you look, sometimes it's hard to tell which is the dorsal and ventral horns, but the dorsal horns will pretty much always extend all the way out to the edge of the spinal cord. The ventral horns will seem to stop before they get there because they're sending out all these myelinated axons. All right. So if you look at this, so then I can say, well, that must be the dorsal horn, that must be ventral, and that must be the lateral. And here you can see there's a big division here where so that's the big fissure. Up here there's also a little space, and that's the sulcus, right? Just where things is kind of dived in. All right?
Because it's okay.
Yeah?
Right.
Got that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are
And
these
so
called?
in this one then, this is the dorsal root ganglion, dorsal is the dorsal rootlets, that's the dorsal root. This is the ventral rootlets coming out of the motor neurons. They combine together to be called the ventral root, and then
So
later
this is the
we'll
same
talk
thing?
about coming out.
This one is the same.
Yep, that's the same as
What
that.
about the rami?
So we shouldn't know that now, so you can take that out. That last line there, that'll be, we'll do in the next
Pásame
one.
lápiz.
Oh, that,
The rami and stuff, I mean, I can tell you, but we're not gonna do it
so
for
we're not gonna
this
do
test.
this last
We'll
line?
get it in the next test. Yeah,
This whole line?
yeah. Mhm. Anything else?
Um,
Everything
much.
else?